and my pals, he had a bad feeling about it, but I just went back down, right? So I'm taking the picture with them. The one at the inside where there was two, she was carrying on, she put a leg out of the front of my legs, and I think the boyfriends get jealous. The next thing I just felt something metal hit me in my forehead. It hit me that hard. I could, when I went home, as I say, I was drunk, so I wiped it with a sponge and I could actually see the bone. I was 15 and I wasn't in a relationship with her mother, and then she told me she was pregnant. I says, I'm not ready for that. Danielle's mum had passed away, and when she was dying, she's just before she died, she says, you need to contact your dad now. She was, as I say, she was on the bus one day with a boy she was going with. I shouted Danielle down, and I said, "Come on, sit next to me." I just told her I loved her, and I apologised for not being in her life, and explained to her that I was 15. I'm so glad I did approach her that day, because she passed away at age 26. I'll never get over it.
Okay, everybody knows him. Everybody. People I don't even know the dog. I would like to meet the right person, and then after that I would like to get a job and just a family, just a normality, just a bit of a normal living.
Marvin has decided to take on all the housework.
Dayna normally does it, but no lately. Left to dating my Todd. Happy as Larry. Could not be happier.
Marvin Baird, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much, Jim, for having me on your show. It's an honour to be here, so it is.
It's a great pleasure having you on the show, Marvin. It's a long time coming. A very inspirational story. But before we go right into that story, if you can speak me through what you've got going on in the now and the present.
In the present, I'm in the middle of microdosing to be completely clean, which I should be in about 10 days. Apart from that, I'm a volunteer in a recovery cafe from Monday to Friday, from 9:30 to 1:30, and then afternoons I'm doing my social media stuff. At night sometimes I'm at the gym. So by the time my days are full now, and I'm surrounding myself with like-minded people that are in the same place I'm at. So they're in recovery. People that are further ahead of me are giving me wee bits of advice. People that are behind me are asking me wee bits of advice. So it's a safe environment I'm in during the day. So it is where I volunteer.
It's beautiful that you're now in this place in your life, because you can't buy experience, and you've got plenty of that. But like I said, you became like you were like an overnight celebrity sensation through some of the stuff that happened in your life and some of the TV shows that you were involved in. But we'll go into that later on in the story. But if you can now take me back to your early memories, like your first chapter in childhood.
Childhood, when I can remember vaguely if I was about 4-year-old. At that time, my dad was self-employed as he was a DJ, but he had other disc jockeys working for him in different clubs. So the main clubs in Kilmarnock, so he was doing pretty well at the time. And my young life was just, I was spoiled. I was spoiled all my life. My young life especially, I was spoiled because my mum had a wee bit of a hard upbringing, so she did. She lost my gran was killed in a hit and run when my mum was only 15. 15 she was. Nobody was ever caught for that. It was the main road and coming up through Kilmarnock. Apart from that, but every year we had a holiday, always a nice Christmas. They were strict. If I had done something out of line, I was grounded, and they stuck to it. You know what I mean? If it was 2 weeks, I was in for the 2 weeks. It didn't matter how much he and Hod tried to just annoy her, my mum, for her to say going out. But no, I had a good upbringing, and my dad. I learnt me the value of money, because he's always been he's good with money. and he's always been self-employed. As I say, he's always made sure that we've never wanted for nothing. So I was quite lucky in that sense. So I was, but in my eyes, that just proves to me that addiction doesn't discriminate. Because I used to think, before I had ever taken it, and I used to see people and think, well, they must have done that hard upbringing to be doing that. But when it's an allergy it sets off with people that are addicts. It's an illness.
Definitely, and it can also be an environment outside the home. And I know that through my own experience. But you had a great childhood, a brilliant family. Take me into when you were younger then, because I know you were also a good football player.
Aye, I was.
Your football days?
Well, there's 13 years between me and my sister, so even at primary school I was a captain of the school team. I was a captain of my Onthank boys club, and then when I went to secondary school I was a captain of the secondary school team, and I got picked to play for Loudon district team, right? And we were playing with the best players for Renfrewshire, Greater Glasgow, like all over Scotland, and we got to the final of the Kilmarnock Trophy, and we beat 2-1. But I scored the only goal for us, right? And two of my uncles were there, they were like, "You were really fast that game," and I was taking all these comments. He says, "Aye, when you were celebrating your goal." They said that was as fast as I ran the game.
At least you still scored.
I still scored a wee goal for us.
See, but these are the stories that are beautiful, because people don't know the stories before all the chaos comes into your life. And what were you like in school then? I know you were good at football, but in school...
I was quite clever. In fact, I was really good at maths. My dad used to, one time he had a double glazing company, right? And he would come in and tell me how much he sold that week and what his commission was, percentage. And he would get the calculator out, and I'd have the number in my head before he'd have it. And he'd be like, "I wasted a good brain. Like, he said, I went to university, but that just wasn't for me. I moved out the house foolishly at 15-year-old, thinking that I knew everything. They used to move in with my girlfriend, a lassie I was in love with. I was with her for 10 years. And
very young to move out of the family home.
Foolish.
Was this where your life started to spiral out of control, or was it in the later teens?
No, it was actually kind of my early 20s. It kind of a wee bit towards my later teens. I done one prison sentence for a pure stupid incident that happened in the town centre. But the girl I was with, she didn't smoke, we went out for a night out, staying and drink. She never tried any of the party drugs or anything like that, no, she did. But she went in just as good a time as I did. So she did. She was a great lassie for me. But so I kept, after that, after my first prison sentence, I come out, promised the world, and then...
What age were you, sorry, when your first prison sentence?
I was 19.
What prison did you go to?
I went to Pullman, and then from Pullman I went to Glencoe, which was more kind of regimented, more structured, and PT was mandatory, at least once a day, but you get a chance to do it 3 times a day. So I came out there pretty fit, so I did. And I was playing a lot of football while I was in there.
So that's the thing, when you're put into the YOs, I've heard many stories that's actually a worse environment than the adult prison. Is that right?
Yeah, it's so, because they're that young, and they're telling the new crimes that you can commit and get away with, so you're actually hearing more things that I believe that I came out of prison worse than I went in. Although physically I came out in a better state, but mentally I didn't come out in as good a state, because I didn't see it as much a deterrent. Yeah,
no, that's it. So this story it's mad, because there's so much chaos, so much trauma, but sometimes these journeys are made for us to teach us lessons, and to bring us to these very moments. You inspiring a nation.
Well, I believe
your recovery.
I believe your destiny's set for the day you're born, so I do. And you see in my recovery, I got my first addiction, I was 23. when I'd been dabbling for a couple of years, and that's what started ruining my relationship. Because I was like hiding things, and she knew because she'd seen it around about where we lived. So
What sort of drugs did you get mixed up in, Marvin?
to start off, it was like the party drugs, so it was, and then I tried methadone for the first time because I had a hangover. It was a friend that gave me it. He says, that'll take your hangover away, and it was a wee tiny bit I took, and it took my hangover away. So I started doing it on a Saturday. Before I knew it, I was doing it on a Saturday and a Tuesday. And then a wee while later, I was buying somebody's weekly after them, and I was taking it every day. And that's when I went to prison after that, and that was the first time I'd ever withdrawn from anything. So when I came back out of prison, promised my girlfriend the world again. And that was me. I've never touched drugs again. It was a one time it caught me. I couldn't get away from it out here. I've got away from it now. And then my head done a number on me and just told me, oh, you're alright if you take it once. But when I come back out, it wasn't methadone. I chose, because the whole time I was in, I didn't sleep a wink. I did not sleep a wink, and my stomach was in agony, my legs couldn't keep them at peace. Oh, just horrible. The worst 12 weeks of my life, so it was.
See, between the ages, as you're saying, between 23, I think 29, say right? Because I think you're about 29 before you started filming for the programme, The Scheme. So from that age, were you just in and out of prison, in and out of addiction? So it's just like a big blur?
Aye. And when I was 25, I was about four or five sentences that my ex had stood by me through, right? And I used to always go home to her, and whatever I had sold at the house, like new television or whatever, she'd have renewed them for me coming home. And again, I would promise her the world, let her down. But this morning, I got out, and for some reason, I went to my mum's first this morning. And by this time, her and my mum had got really close, and she was really close with my baby sister. And my mum said to me, she's like, you keep coming out and promising her the world. And she wanted to make something of herself, right? And she has done. So my mum said, you need to go, you either need to get your act together, or go, if you love her enough, go and let her go on with my life. So it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but I think it's the most manly thing I've ever done to help somebody. So I had to go and tell her I didn't love her anymore, and inside it was killing me to tell her this, because I'm just out of prison. I'm no in addiction yet, back in addiction yet. But I just decided that my mum was right. She deserved a chance to go and get. And then she ended up the head of a children's home. She's got her own house, but she went away. When we split up at first, she was heartbroken. So she went to the Isle of Man first for 6 months, and then she come back. The first night back, we were back together that night. So she went away 3 days later to Spain for 2 years. She was earlier as a holiday rep, and she just stayed over there. And then one of her cousins went to visit, and she got a bit homesick when she seen her, and she come back home. But by that time, we'd been apart long enough, but we still got on great, so we still speak. She's one of the biggest people. She roots for me more than most, so she does.
It's amazing that you can have those people around you.
I used to meet her in the town, and she would take me for something to eat. She would never give me money, because she would never wanted to be the person in case anything happened to me, which is understandable. And she knew, when I look back on it, I really appreciated the fact that they cared that much, that they would rather take me for something to eat or buy me a jacket or something, whatever I needed at the time.
But that's family that care about you. And like I said, it's amazing to have those people around, even if it's not family, if it's friends. It's very important to have the right surroundings, and the right people surrounding you, should I say. But before we move on in the story, most people come on here and we talk about the chaos of prison, right? All the bad stories. Do you have any good memories of your time? Because I'm sure you told me all in, you spent about 14 years of your life in prison. Do you have any fun memories, or like something good that stands out there that benefited you?
Just being clean. was good for me in there, see, because I was off everything. Well, I was still on my prescription, but I wasn't taking any illicit drugs, so it just been clean. And I used to always get the pass job straight away because I've got OCD. So I was always clean, you know what I mean? I was always the one of them the cleanest hall. So the pass of them, we got an extra 5 on their wages. So they were all chuffed, and everybody else in the hall get money in the phone for the cleanest hall.
It must have been good as well because you've got a great likability. We were talking about that in the meeting prior to this, and so you've got a welcoming energy. So again, it can be exploited as well. Did anybody try to exploit that in the prison, or were you welcomed most of the time?
Well, I was welcomed at first. I was just treated like a normal prisoner at first, but after the scheme, it wasn't anything bad. It was just people shouting bullet, things like that. But answering the same questions over and over again, I'd rather just stood in the hall and told everybody what they wanted to know, rather than, I mean, I was going through this maybe 100 times every hall I was in, with different people saying, did you get paid for the scheme? Did this happen? Did that happen? Did this happen? How did you end up at the big house? All these different things. And I was getting fed up answering the same questions.
Were you treated differently in the prison after that programme? From the staff or even the prisoners, I would say?
I was a wee bit they always called me the Bowhouse mascot because I was always in and out, you know what I mean? so they did.
It's a good
but
nickname.
as soon as I went in, I always gave a job straight away, and the past job you usually go to work towards it. You usually go to a shed that's nippy. You're getting bolts and everything through it all day, you know what I mean? Just to see if you're willing to work, but they knew that I was keen. They used to see how clean my cell was, and even before I was on the job, I was out helping the boys keep the hall clean. And people used to say to me, why are you cleaning the hall for the officers? I said, they get home to a nice clean house at night. I said, it's us that have got to stay here. I said, I'm doing this for you, no for them. I said, I'm doing it to keep us in a clean environment.
But you're using your intelligence, whereas a lot of people develop a us versus them mentality, and it never really works because you really need to not manipulate but infiltrate the system so that it works for you instead of trying to go against it.
It's funny you say that.
That would be my approach. Even I've never spent any time in prison, but in any environment or any institution that I've ever been in, it was always the case. I would always try and work with the system instead of trying to go against it.
Well, it's funny you say that because when I was like 21, I kind of went along with all the other boys were doing like anti-authority, but then I realised it wasn't getting me anywhere, so I kind of worked my ticket. I used to go up and talk to them and banter with them, and so I ended up kind of like friendly with them. And there was a couple of them was just my wavelength, my jokes. He just seemed to get it. The two of them thought it was hilarious. You know what I mean? It's just some things I come out with just off the bat, just no thinking. They'd be buckled. But I know I did get a wee bit special treatment, so I did them.
That's it, because like I said, you've got that great likability and you're very funny as well. So that's good that you have good memories as well as bad, because it's a big part of your life, 14 years all in. But moving on in the story this time, Marvin, when we spoke earlier, you became a household sensation overnight in 2010 when the TV series The Scheme came out by, we won't mention them, by the producers of the show.
Yes.
But it was filmed 2 years prior to that, 2008.
They've been filming for 2 years, basically every day. It was, if I know, it was at least 5 days a week. They were at my door for 8 in the morning, and even if I wasn't ready to let them in, they would always have how are you getting myself in? Or can I just see the dog for a minute? Before I knew it, they're in my hallway, and then they're clapping the dog and they're talking to me, and then see them edging their way into the...
Edging their way in, and you're in a vulnerable state. But
and
we'll cheers on that one, Marv, and then we'll get right into the story. You get yourself a wee drink. So take me back to the start of it then. how you were approached and how it actually developed.
Right, well, they done a programme called Boys Behind Bars, right? And then they done Girls Behind Bars. And one of the girls that was on it was my best girlfriend. As in girlfriend relationship. She's gay. She
was a friend that was a
girlfriend.
Right, okay.
So she phoned me one morning and it was a follow-up they were doing for they filmed her inside the prison, so they wanted to do a follow-up when she was outside, and two of her pals were supposed to appear that morning to support her, and they never did, and I only stayed round the corner, so she phoned me. And of course, I'm going to help my friend. I just shoved a tracky top on, a pair of sunglasses, and grabbed the billet and ran round.
Unbeknown to you, you're going to end up the main character.
Exactly. and run, and so then a wee bit of film and spoke to Kerry pretty well. And while the guy was doing that, the lassie had me talking to me and asking me about my life and that. And she says, "Oh, you've had a very interesting life." She says, "You speak well, just partner me up." She says, "How would you feel about doing a programme?" I says, "Well, it would depend, but I says, I'm not about to do any day with prison." She says, "What we are looking to do is a programme to stop youngsters from making the same mistakes that I had made." And it's me coming from a big family. I'm one of the oldest cousins, and I've got a young brother as well. So I was all for it, for the way they approached me and told me what it was going to be, the content was going to be. Now they didn't say it was going to be a 5-part series on BBC One. They made it to me, it was going to be a wee one-off documentary, maybe on BBC Two, so I was expecting it maybe 11 o'clock at night, no prime time, every Monday, you know what I mean? So I was quite happy with their idea, but as I say, the way they showed it was totally different. They just handed the full footage over to the BBC, and they told me they were going to edit it, show me it before it went out, and then I would get to decide what bits I liked and what bits I didn't.
That was never the
Never
case.
heard them again. Never heard them again.
That's the thing, because when I watched it, they were shining these in such a bad light. It was like the worst of the worst.
It was disgusting.
And you're at your most vulnerable.
Yeah,
like I said, and they're just edging their way into the house, manipulating. This is what these people do. And it wasn't just you, it was getting manipulated and exploited. It was everybody on the show.
Exactly. There was I can't believe that they actually let that boy inject on the programme. Who in their right mind would want to do that? Who would actually show somebody in that light? I mean, to me, that's used to the highest degree of using somebody. Because I believe they paid for him to get the stuff that day. Because there was no money ever involved, but I believe they paid for him to do that day.
I wouldn't be surprised, Marvin, to be honest.
To be honest, I didn't actually. He told me they gave him the money to go and get the stuff.
Is that right?
Aye. But that boy's doing great as well now, so it's
brilliant. But is there anyone that was in the show that you would like to mention or speak about during those 5 episodes?
Like the Cunninghams, that's my family. So a lot of people didn't know that, because people I've been talking to on social media have been asking, "Do you still see the Cunninghams?" I said, "Of course I do." I said, "I'm a Cunningham." I said, "It's just my mum's the only sister. My mum had 7 brothers. Unfortunately, there's none of them here now. All 7 of them died, most of them with cancer. Every one of them, 8 of them have had cancer at some point. So they have."
What about the relationship you had on the show? Can you talk me through
Dayna.
that?
Well, it said, that was another thing. It said in the show that I was reunited with Dayna. I'd never met Dayna. See, the first day they videoed me and Dayna walking in the house, that was the second day I'd ever. I'd only met her the day before.
You're joking?
I'd met her the day before. I was in the barbers and she phoned me. I'm going to tell you the truth. She phoned me looking for Valium, and I was selling Valium at the time, right? So I went and met her to get her Valium. I've got home and she sent me a wee message saying, "I heard you're looking for a girlfriend, right?" And she was pretty. So I was like, "I get a taxi up. No bother." You know what I mean? She come up and I was thinking I was getting sleeping well that night, and she went like, I just need to tell you I'm on the tag, and I was like, oh my God.
Is that why she's coming up?
And she could bet you come up for an hour and then you're going away.
Nothing gets by her.
No.
No, and then it just developed from there. He's just
So I liked the lassie, so I did, because she was a nice lassie. She was very vulnerable, and I've got a big heart. See, I've had loads of my cousins staying with me. I can't help it. Take them in. And I don't know at the time if it was I was doing that rather than looking at myself and dealing with myself. Like I used to try and problem solve for them, but I couldn't even solve my own problems. So I think it was mostly it was good intentions, but a lot of it was to deflect, having to look into myself and look deep at what I needed to change.
What was your emotions like when you were watching the show back? I
was horrified. I could. There was only bits that I could look at, and I seen myself in that state. I was so embarrassed
because it went absolutely bonkers. It went viral
crazy.
Around the world. You're talking, it was bigger than some of the biggest shows. EastEnders, I'm sure, was one of them. It had more views.
The second week, it put in more viewers than EastEnders.
I also won a Scottish BAFTA. Were you invited to the BAFTAs?
Unfortunately, they said I would have been the one that would have been invited, but I was in prison at the time.
I'm sure you would have.
Exactly.
So I know your life would change forever after that show aired.
Aye.
Good and bad.
Oh, aye, very bad.
But there was also so much chaos after that. I know you were attacked 3 times.
I was nearly murdered 3 times, so I was.
Can you talk us through? There was an instant, one of them was at a taxi rank, I'm sure. Can you talk me through that?
So the taxi rank's right next to the shopping centre. So I'd walk with my friend. I lived in the town centre at the time.
This in Kilmarnock?
In Kilmarnock, in a flat in John Finney Street. That's one of the main roads just up for the courthouse. I lived in a flat there, so I'd been, me and my pal had a few beers, and I was walking them round to the taxi rank, and we walked past these 3 lasses, and they asked for a picture, and I said, I'm just walking my pal to the taxi rank, I'll get his way back down. But there was a few guys with him, and my pal he had a bad feeling about it, but I just went back down, right? So I'm taking the picture with him, and there's 2 at one side, one at the other side, and the one at the inside where there was 2, she was carrying on, she put a leg out of the front of my legs, and I think the boyfriends get jealous. The next thing I just felt something metal hitting me in my forehead. It hit me that hard. I could, when I went home, the camera followed me all the way home, right on CCTV at 1 o'clock in the morning. It took him to 6 o'clock in the morning to come in my house to do a welfare check to see how I was. And when they came, I was unconscious. They had to put my door in, and I was taken straight to hospital. As I say, I was drunk, so I wiped it with a sponge, and I could actually see the bone. Oh. So I've got a crack in my sino bone there.
Was it all on CCTV, the full attack?
Aye. What was it? It was right in the middle of the shopping centre.
What did they hit you with, do you know?
I'm not sure. I just know it was metal. I just seen it bit of silver metal within it. I don't know if it was a thick machete or if it was I don't know what it was. It looks as it had been something pretty sharp anyway. It looks like a line, so to me, I think it was a machete. But as soon as I got hit with that, I was decked, knocked out.
It's so bad. So, what was the other attacks?
The following week, 2 of my cousins and my friend were in, and we were having a wee drink. At this time, I was supposed to be going around every secondary school in Scotland, to speak to 3rd and 4th years about drugs and the dangers and about how bad jail is and things. To tell them for me the mistakes I had made. And somebody showed an old picture of me using, and they withdrew themselves it. So they did. And they made it as if the picture was recent. You know what I mean? I don't know what they done, if they photoshopped it or whatever they done, but it was believed anyway. And I wasn't using it at the time. And so, sorry, I've jumped for it. So the second week when I got attacked, downstairs maybe was a kebab shop, right? So we So we walked my two cousins down, me and my pal, and they got in a taxi and left to go up to Onthank. That's where they said the scheme was showed, but it wasn't actually. It was next to Onthank. And they went up there, and there was a few guys. I didn't know there had been a UFC night in the Grand Hall in Kilmarnock. There's quite a few events. Paul Heaton and that, they've done shows and that in there, so they have. And so I had plenty of a drink upstairs, and I knew that it was like time for pubs and that to be shut. So I knew one of them, and so I invited them up for a drink. But see, because my door had been put in, I had foolishly put a knife on top of the wardrobe. It was only for protection in case anything happened, until my door was secured. There was another door outside, but it was like a shared accommodation. There was like 3 bed sets, but it was like a communal kitchen and a communal bathroom. But it was only me and my pal. It was 3 flats, and it was only me and my pal had one each of them. So it was actually all right. But I went through to get glasses to give them a drink, and they've seen the knife and they thought they were getting set up. So I've come back through and I've got my wee pal in the corner, and they're hitting him with every single thing that was lying about. I mean, they tried to hit my hammer and missed them, and there was a deep, about a half an inch deep hole in my laminated flooring. That's how hard they were trying to hit him. And when one of them lifted, I had a big like glass coffee table, and it was about an inch thick, the glass. One of them picked it up, it was like that, about to hit him with it. So I took it out the back of their hands and threw it in the bed, and that's what's turned their attention to me. And one of them turned and swung a blade and got me in the ear, and my ear was hanging half in two, hanging down. So it was, and that was why I had all these stitches in my head. And it was
horrific.
No intentions. I've never been done with anything like that. No violence in my life. I'm not a violent person. I would rather talk my way out of a fight.
That's the impression I get from you. We're sitting with you, but this is what I mean. So people will pick on that. You know, when you're vulnerable like that, and it's like a liberty. Liberty takers.
It's a lot. Most people in Kilmarnock, they seem to think that I had made thousands of pounds with this. I was rich in it, and they didn't realise it wasn't. I had made a wee bit of money after it with appearances and stuff like that. But
did you get paid by the producers of the show?
Not a penny.
Not a penny? And you were the main character?
Aye. It was kind of, because they've asked us to do another one, and they say they're not willing to do it without me, and I've said definitely no. And they were
after the way you were treated,
twice shy, as they say.
No, you get to pick what you want to do.
But I want to do it, and the content goes out what I want goes out, and it's the right stuff.
You decide, because you're here to tell the truth, not to be painting in a different light. That's the difference. And
I believe I'm here I believe I'm here for a reason, and it's to tell my story and hopefully influence people to get into recovery.
It's going to inspire so many.
Or even stop them before they get into addiction.
That's it. It's a prevention as well.
If I help one person, my job's done.
I think you'll help thousands, Marvin, to be
honest
with you.
I believe I'll help a lot more. But as I say, if I heard one success story, I'd feel fulfilled inside that I'd done my job that I set out to do.
Definitely.
But as I say, I'm volunteering in the recovery cafe, right? And I'm next in line for the paid job. But in the recovery cafe, it's more like a relaxed environment. I want to be taking them in to, when they need, no, they're just in for a game of pool and chat if they want to. I want to be in a place where they're coming in where they need help, because I know all the max standards and that now, but they're entitled to, because it's a new thing. The government's trying to push it through as legislation just now, so the sooner they do the better, because as soon as you mention, when you take it, the max standards is that anybody that's using illicit substances, if you take them to if they get themselves to an addiction place, within 24 hours, they're supposed to go in a replacement, whether it's opiate replacement treatment or diazepam treatment, whatever it is, they're supposed to be put on something within 24 hours, and that's part of it. But standards is only... They are meant to abide by it, but they don't always, you know what I mean, because it is only standards. That's why they're trying to get it made as legislation, because then it becomes law, basically. That they need to. But the minute you mention it, the reception will try to fob you off. But the minute you mention max standards, that's how I prefer going in with them, because a lot of them don't know about it.
No, but we'll get into the recovery side of things towards the end of the episode, right?
Aye, no bother.
But for this part of the story, I know you told me stories of you were getting lots of fan mail throughout your life, women saying,
God,
come and stay with me. What's that like?
I couldn't believe it. See, the first time I went to prison after the programme, I was getting letters for lasses saying, I've just inherited a cottage. Do you want to come and move in with me up in Muir End in Glasgow? It's a lovely area, and it's overwhelmed.
You're a massive star in that show.
I'm talking, but see, I still to this day, it's my cousin, he keeps telling me, I said, but I've not got much to offer them. He says, you're off. Because I just see myself as a wee guy, normal guy for the scheme, who was in addiction, is now in recovery. But I do believe that I do know I've got a platform that I can help people. Probably a bigger platform than most people.
Definitely, but you're helping yourself as well. That's the main
that's
thing.
The only way you can keep addiction. That's what they say in recovery. The only way you can keep it is by sharing it. If you go to any of the anonymous groups, that's what they say. The most important person in the room is a newcomer. So see, like, if somebody goes to their first meeting, they get treated like, well, they're really, and they got them collect their wee key ring and everybody applauds, and it gives them a wee feel good factor. So it does. I done the CA and I done the 12 steps, but every time I went to a meeting, the shares seemed identical. It was a 45-minute talk. They would spend 30 minutes on their drug log. Right? They could have spent and then 15 minutes on the solution about how they get into recovery. So you weren't getting much information about how they got well. So after so long, I stood up in a meeting. I said, I'm fed up listening to war stories. I said, I'm outside living a war. I said, then I know how to take drugs. I said, I don't need to know how much drugs you've took. I says, I would rather, if you need to tell a bit about that, why don't you switch it to 15 minutes about your drug using and half an hour about the solution? And there was people around about me that had been gone for maybe 10 years, and they were all agreeing with me. And I said, well, how have none of you stood up and said this before now, if you are all agreeing with me? Some of them were falling asleep, the ones that have been gone for 10 years, they were fed up listening to the same stuff.
But I think as well, see if something's working for people or it's making them, you know, it's a comfort going there. Because see, a lot of people don't need it, you know what I mean? But for people like yourself and me, those things don't really work for us, you know what I mean? No. It's like we need something else. And when we were
structure,
talking about, we need to, and you know what? I think everybody has their own path to recovery. Yeah. Everybody does, and see anything that helps them along the way, then God bless that. Right? But so we were talking about the fan mail and stuff like that, right? But I also know you had many love stories in your time, in your story. Are you willing to talk us through any of them?
So I got a wee bit embarrassed at that.
Because you've got loads there.
I was a wee bit of a ladies' man when I was young. So
you're a ladies' man, all right.
And I was doing a lot of fan mails. So, this is a cracker, right? I was due the tag, right? I was still with Dayna. So, Dayna was still dealing, right, while I was in prison. And her brother took a picture of her making the stuff up and sold it to the papers.
Joking.
So that was me snooker for the tag, right? So I phoned my friend from Glasgow and I told her what had happened. She's like, why didn't you shoot a tag to my house? I was like gobsmacked. I couldn't believe it because I'd only known her for a few months while I was staying up there. I was up there for a couple of years, but I'd only really known her, like spent a couple of months with her. And I was friendly with the daughter and the mum. So the two of them lived together. It was just mother and daughter lived together. And it was a 2-bedroom house. You know, see, they actually, when they didn't agree, I said, "Are you sure about this?" And they said, "Aye, it's fine." They just moved to Mount Vernon, London Drive in Glasgow. And just off London Road, see the wee flats in there. So I went up the first day I got out, and I went into the room, and they two had actually started sharing a room and done a room up, like a boy's room, a guy's room for me. So honestly, I was nearly crying. So I couldn't believe it. They'd done it, but they'd put Sky television and everything in the room. So I couldn't believe it. Honestly, it was so nice of them.
Did that see you through the tag
Aye.
that time?
Aye.
That's amazing, isn't it? It just shows you the people who have got a big heart as well.
Aye.
And not everybody is here to exploit. But before we move on in the story, what was the last prison sentence you served? When was the last time you were in?
The last time I was in was 2020, but I was just back for a funeral, and somebody accused me and my brother of something, and we weren't even there. We were at a funeral at the time, and whatever it was that happened, it was somebody got money stolen after them, and I didn't need money at the time. And we got arrested, and we ended up lying 9.5 months in remand before they realised that it wasn't us, and then just let us out, and there was no sorries, no nothing, just let us out. On bail for a year, so I was on supervised bail for a year as well.
For a crime you never committed?
For a crime I never committed, aye.
How ironic is that? That's your last prison sentence. Is that the last time you were ever in trouble, even though you...
My last prison sentence I finished on the 28th of December 2017. So 8 years I've no been committing crime.
And from the impression I get, I don't see you committing any more crime in the future. You come with a great presence. We've got a good friendship now.
Yep.
We got on really well. Lots of similarities there.
It was quite uncanny when I was talking to you, the similarities.
You're actually quite funny. You're funnier than me, but don't tell anybody that. Because you're very quick. You know, you should do comedy as well. I believe that you would go really far.
I did add some wee bits of humour into my TikTok stuff and that.
Some of the stuff that I used to watch you, obviously it was from the scheming that, but you were quick, and I found it really comical. Even though you were suffering an addiction, you still had that, you know, you could still laugh about stuff.
See, before I took drugs, we used to party, and nobody would have a slagging match with me. It was one wee guy, right? He was a great partner, right? But he used to prefer me to tag team somebody with him.
Right, because he didn't want to get
every time I
slaughtered.
offered him, I'd say, right, Jockey, me and you go for it. That's the wee guy I'm talking about, get attacked in my flat. He was just a wee guy, you know what I mean? And was never into, like myself, never into violence. But he had a great part, it was a great laugh, but every time I used to say, it's just a wee challenge to see if he was ever up for it. You know, he used to refuse, no chance.
I think I'll skip by that as well, Marvin, right? We don't want a roast battle.
No, let's not do that.
There's also stories there that you told me, you know, that can be traumatic as well. It was the first time you'd met your daughter that you had never met before.
Aye.
Can you talk me through that? Is that all right?
Aye. I was 15 and I wasn't in a relationship with her mother. I was 15.
Still a kid.
We'd been together, we'd slept together a couple of times. And then she told me she was pregnant. By this time, I'm in love. My first love. And when I told my girlfriend, I said, listen, I've got a girl pregnant. She went, oh, we need to split up. I mean, I'm not taking that on. I'm not ready for that, never near. And I was like, I'm only kidding. So I went and I phoned Danielle's mum. And I said, look, I'm 15. I said, I should have used protection. I said, I'm to blame for, both of us are equally to blame for you being pregnant as quick as us only being the girl twice. I said, I'm not ready for Dad. And doing that way, and it kept playing in my head for years. I think, do you know something? I think that kind of kept me in addiction and all, because I didn't know what to deal with
facing up to things.
I couldn't deal with it. That's why I used to suppress everything with drugs. It wasn't that I just wanted to be away with all the thing. I just didn't want all these feelings. I couldn't control them. But when I done a 12-step programme, although I say it didn't work for me, I learnt tools for that to deal with situations, and I done cog skills, cognitive CBT, cognitive behaviour therapy. I done that in prison. It's called constructs now, they call it. So I had some tools to deal with things. This day, I was on the bus. Danielle's mum had passed away, and when she was dying, she's just before she died, she says, you need to contact your dad now, because I'm not going to be here. But Danielle was too shy to approach me herself, and me not showing her much attention. I feel so sorry that I didn't. But it's just, I can't turn the clocks back. So, she was, as I say, she was on the bus one day with a boy she was going with, and he was speaking to a little piece of dirt. And I was just sitting there, I was getting so angry, so I was, and I don't usually get it. I was so irate, I was ready for scalping him, so I was. And I never liked that, but so rather than just get angry at him, I shouted Danielle down. And I said, "Won't sit next to me?" She was all nervy.
This the first time you met her?
No, I'd met her because she came in, see my wee brother. My wee brother brought her into my house, and he's like, I'm going to start seeing this lassie. And I'd take him into the room. I was like, listen, you can't. He's like, how? I was like, I said, you just can't. You tell me how. I'm not doing what you tell me. I was like, it's my lassie. My niece. I was like, aye, it's your niece. So you can't do it. You just can't do it.
Just shows you.
So she, and I think that was just a way of her getting in to see me. I don't think it was so much that she was desperate to go with my brother. I think it was just to get in and see her dad, know what I mean?
Such a
It's
shame.
a shame.
So you've met her on the bus. What age is she at this point?
She was 19.
This is when, so that day what happened on the bus then?
As I say, right, he was talking down to her, so when I shouted at her down, she was a wee bit apprehensive, just a wee bit taken back because I'd walked past her so many times, and just because I didn't feel that, because I was that caught up in addiction, I didn't feel I wanted to impose that on her. But by this time, she was caught up in addiction because she'd nobody. She was just a wee lost soul, so she was. And so I've shouted her down and I said, listen, I'm your dad. She said, I know you're my dad. I said, how have you never spoke to me? She says, because you've always walked past me. And then really, it was my place. I was the adult, I was the dad. I should have approached her. So I said to her, I said, right. I said, well, I said, stop letting him speak to you like that. I said, because you don't deserve that. I said, if he's going to keep speaking to you that and you've just started going with him, it's only going to get worse. So the next day, she split up with him. And I arranged to go for a meal where a couple of days later, took her for a meal, took her for a wee bit of shopping. And I've never, honestly, it was like Christmas for her, and I only took her and bought her a wee North Face girl set, and a wee meal and a wee blah, and a wee kiss and cuddle with her. I mean, I just told her I loved her and apologised for not being in her life and explained to her that I was 15 and that I just fell in love with her, like I say, and I explained the circumstances and she was understanding about it, so she was. She was smashing me last year, so she was. And then I went back to prison again. That was in 2017. And when I came out, she had her own place. And while I was in, I'd been phoning her all the time. And she's like, Dad, when you come out, I want to look after you. And I was like, that's so sweet. You know what I mean? So I was intending to go in my own place, but just to keep her happy, I went. And I moved in with her in Bonneton in Kilmarnock. That's just next to the town centre, just quite a wee house in the estate. There was a private let she was in at the time. She was waiting in a council house. And then when she got the council house, I said, right, so I'll help you get it decorated. I said, no, and I can go and get my own house. No, Dad, I want you to come and stay with me. So I was like, right, fair enough. So I moved in with her. And then I get the jail again. No, I didn't. 2017. No, the remand. Sorry, I jail for the remand. It was none to Davies, and then when I come back out, she had a bedroom all done up, ready for me coming out. She'd been buying me clothes every so, and she didn't have much. But she'd been trying her hardest just to make me. She didn't have to buy me stuff to get me there, but I think she felt that she bought me stuff that would attract me there more.
You'd be grateful that you had that relationship with her.
I'm so glad that I'm so glad I did approach her that day, because she passed away at age 26. I was living with her at the time. It was a Sunday morning. She used to always she was an early riser. She was always up about 8 o'clock, even on a Sunday. And she always used to get up and make my breakfast and shout me when my cup of coffee was ready. She was just a great wee lassie, so she was. It was a shame, but she was starting to feel she had a wee family unit. She had a bit of security around about her. And then I started seeing a lassie, and she's like, oh, this can be my new mum. And then I get Trixie, the dog. I wasn't going to buy Trixie. It was a couple that was selling her, because they couldn't really look after her properly. But then I looked at her and I seen that she was so much, she's identical, she's like a female version of Bullet. And I said, I could probably build her up and get her. And now she's thriving, so she is. And see, Daniel brought her in, she was playing all about the flare with her. She went, that's it, I've finally got my wee family. And then just a few months later, I knew there was something up. And I said to my girlfriend, and she like, just, because she had a wee locking inside her door, and so in her room door, and so did I. So if her boyfriend was staying, she had a bit of privacy. If my girlfriend was staying, I had a bit of privacy. And her door was locked, and her boyfriend wasn't staying. And I found it strange, right? Because she didn't lock it if her boyfriend wasn't staying. It got to 9:30, she still wasn't out. And I said to my girlfriend, I said, there's something not right. I sensed it. I don't know if it was parental instinct or what it was, but I just knew there was something wasn't right. So my pal was there. He'd come in that morning, and I said, Brian, please, will you go and put your shoulder through that door? And he did, and he looked, and he turned and came out, and he went, don't go in. Obviously I went in, so I went in, and I've tried to move her back to start doing a CPR, but rigor mortis had set in, her full body moved. I still have night terrors about it, so I do.
What age was she?
26.
That's so tragic.
It's I'm starting to learn to live it a wee bit better, but I'll never get over it. But
then you can take comforts in the fact that she did get a family unit, and she spent time with her dad, and she was never lonely.
You
know,
she left the world on a good,
still so young,
so young, but in a good. She was at a good place in her life. That's what makes it even more sad.
It is sad, but it's also, you've had so many tragedies in your life. It's a miracle that you're still here telling the tale.
Well, that's how I believe I'm here to
inspire everybody.
People. Because I know I've got a platform. The platform came for the wrong place for the scheme, but it's given me the right platform now.
It's gave you the right, and like we spoke about, you're not going to sell yourself short to anyone.
No.
And you know what you bring to the table, but you're bringing it for the right reasons now. You've left that life behind. We had a discussion earlier, and you told me you had 3 goals in life. Can you talk me through them?
I want to pass my test and have a car and be driving. I want to be in a house that I'm going to spend the rest of my life in, and I want to be settled with a partner. And I actually want to be working in addiction as well, but I want to be working as an addiction worker. See that I'm the person they come in to see, the people I normally go to see. That's my goal. So that's what's kind of keeping me at Patchworks, where I volunteer now, because they're going to put me through an SVQ3 just while I'm volunteering. So it would be like, I'd been there 3 days a week, and at college 2 days a week. So that's the other place is giving me a bit more to offer just now, but it's still just be volunteering. Whereas if I stay at Patchworks, I'm getting a qualification at it. I would probably get a qualification if I went there to the hub as well, but it's the first safe place I've went, and I've been inspired by people. The first person to inspire me to get clean was Daniel died 2 years past in December. It'll be 3 years this year. And I went out of control, right out of control for a year. It went really bad. And in the following December, I told you I was 23 when I got my first, first addiction. I was first addicted to something. And I just woke up one morning. I was 44. And just something was different. A year later, I just woke up. And to me, it was a spiritual awakening. That's what I put it down to. Because I woke up and I wasn't this 23-year-old boy anymore. I was 44. And I realised, this is it. I don't want this life anymore. I don't want to be tied to a chemist. Because one of my pals over to take me to Mauritius, Malta, and then Amsterdam on holiday. Right, on a bank holiday Monday, just after that, just decided if you're going to go on holiday. And I couldn't because I'm tied to a chemist, you know what I mean? There's some things I've missed it because of that. But apart from that, I've kind of lost myself there.
No, you're fine, Marvin. That's what I'm saying. I just love listening to you, because to come from all that chaos and all that addiction and trauma, like I said, to be sitting here speaking words of wisdom, having a spiritual awakening, that's why we've got such a great connection, because I believe that when you bring your presence, your energy, and you have the right intentions, and there's a pureness in that, you don't need to protect it.
Aye,
and that controls a lot of things. So when you walk into a room, and like I said, when you bring all of that into a room, people notice that, they feel it, because energy never lies, as I always say.
Oh.
Right, but it's been an absolute honour having you on the show today.
Aye.
But before we finish up on this episode, if there's another message that you would like to send out to the audience watching, now is the time.
Well, anybody that's watching that is is in addiction or is started dabbling, if they want to talk to me, they're welcome to contact me through TikTok or whatever. Or if they want to come to Patchwork, I'll meet them anywhere. If they want to go somewhere in Glasgow, I'll go anywhere in Scotland and meet them. If they're wary in themselves, I'll go in and I'll speak on their behalf. Because I've got the certificate to get. I'm allowed to get in and do that, so I'm allowed to get in and speak on their behalf, like a peer advocate. That's what I am in Patchworks. I keep forgetting, so I see my memory's a wee bit bad. But it's coming back gradually, and apparently I'm only 10 days away from being completely clean. So
you can see it in you.
And yesterday I went to my mum's I got every Sunday for my breakfast, and I went in yesterday, and I told my mum what I was doing today, and I was going for lunch before it. She's like, "Oh, we're going to the Hilton, are you?" Very nice.
She's quite comical herself.
She is. She's straight to the point. So she tells me. So I know she's all right with what I'm doing. So she thought I was doing TikTok, doing jumping about dancing and kidding on and miming songs. Now she's watched a couple of my videos. She realised that I'm trying to help people.
You're serious about it.
Aye.
You've also got your own social media platforms that you would like to promote for the audience watching.
Yes, if everybody would go to TikTok and like and share my content, and there's a link at the bottom of my TikTok. It's to get on my YouTube page. If you're searching for it, it's at Marvin Baird Official. So anybody that wants to watch my programme that's upcoming, then subscribe to the page, or just go into TikTok and click on the link, and you'll be able to get it.
Is there anyone else that you would like to send a message out to or a shout out?
I would like to give a shout out to Patchworks for giving me a safe environment to be in. I can stay in there to 4:30 if I want. I finish my shift finishes at 1:30, but I can stay to 4:30, and it's open 6 days a week. It shuts at 1 on a Saturday, but they're doing a trial with a Sunday. They were open yesterday. That was the first Sunday that we opened. That was an idea that me and another newcomer he's just been given the job. The funding come up for two jobs, but my mental health took a dip. Because I took somebody in to stay with me, one of my cousins, and my mental health went down, and my manager took me into the office. She said because there was funding come up for 2 placements, right, and there was a boy and a lassie in front of me, and they two were to get it, but the lassie got offered a longer contract, full time, in a place that she feels she can progress me. So the manager took me in and she held my hands and she was sincere. She said to me, every time I look at you, I smile. Right? She said, you make me smile. And she said, I'm so sorry to say. She said, if your mental health hadn't did, I would have been offering you the job this morning. She said, but this funding comes up every so often. She said, if you get back on the same path, and I'm way beyond that now, so she told me the next job that comes up is mine, whether I take it or not. I feel that I'll get me out of just volunteering rather than doing it to get paid. I don't want people to see that I'm only doing it for a wage. I want people to know that I'm getting in and have my own back and doing it.
See, when you're like that, Marvin, that's the thing. It becomes magnetic and everything just comes to you.
That's it.
It comes to you. You don't need to look for anything. When
so
you are in that, like I said, you're 10 days away from being completely free of all of that stuff. But like I said previously as well, it's been a great honour. It's
been a pleasure being here, so it's so nice to meet you, so
it's amazing having you on the show. Shake my hand. I'm sure I'll see you again very soon, my friend. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.